Hi, welcome to At the Table. We have Dr. Sarah here, who is a chiropractor in Berks County, Pennsylvania. So, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I have been practicing chiropractic with my husband in Pennsylvania for almost 10 years now. And we have a multidisciplinary practice, but more recently have been doing a lot of art and creating in our practice space.
Oh, I love that. So, just for like the listeners know, you and your husband actually went to chiropractic school together.
We
Is that
did.
right?
Yes.
And then you have started practice together. So you guys have been working together in a lot of different aspects. What has that been like?
Yeah, it's been really wild actually. We actually moved to chiropractic school on our 1 year wedding anniversary. And we did the whole chiropractic school together, which was a really big change. Obviously, before that, we had jobs and we weren't sitting in a room next to each other for 8 hours. And we went from, like kind of living different lives to being essentially attached at the hip, which was an interesting change. And then we actually got pregnant during chiropractic school and had twins, and they were 6 months old when we graduated. So we kind of had no choice but to work together and how to figure it out. And we actually always wanted to work together. A lot of couples don't, but we just knew that we wanted to. And it's been kind of wild, but it is funny at the end of the night when we're talking about our day. I'm like, I know exactly what you did all day. I know what happened in your day.
What is okay? So people, we get this question a lot because I work with my husband as well. And people who do not work with their spouse or might not want to, or even if they want to, but they're just not at that point, they always ask, like, how does it work? Like, what is make it like
Yeah.
how do you find success in that? Because it is a lot of time together. And some people are like, I don't want that with my partner. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it's definitely like you have to like choose it and continually choose to want to do it. For us, it kind of just worked out naturally, but honestly, our business relationship has evolved over time and as our obviously as our business has evolved, but in the beginning it was harder because you're kind of meshing two different ideas of what you want and what you expect and figuring out and navigating how to build a practice around. I always wanted more like pediatrics and pregnancy. My husband at the time when we first entered the field wanted more like sports and athletics. And although they do go together, also are treated very differently and kind of meshing that together. And in the beginning, I would do more like admin stuff and he would do more clinical. And then at a point we were both very equally clinical. And then now I'm actually more admin again, and he's more clinical. And honestly, we're so busy that we really don't see each other much during the day. Like, we kind of, like, I know he's there. Obviously, I will say hello, but we frequently will go several hours not talking and not like communicating really. So for us, it hasn't been an issue. But when we were in our space prior to the one we are now, we actually shared, well, there was no space. So we shared a computer and a desk. And
Oh my
that was
gosh.
so challenging, just like getting notes done logistically and like doing other work. We just didn't have the space for another computer. So that was our biggest challenge, was sharing a computer with charting and that kind of stuff. But since we have our own computers, we've been a lot better now.
Yeah, that's actually really intense. I
It
still
was
share an
great.
office with my husband. Like, it is funny though, because people think like, oh, you guys are together all the time. And I'm like, actually, I don't see him or know what his like I see him in passing, but like I have no idea what's
Yeah.
happening in his day until like our lunch break and the end of the day. So
Right.
even though
You're not like
you
sitting next to each other, just breathing down each other's
yeah.
necks. You're kind of
Yeah.
just
I think that's what
doing
people
it
think
every
is
day.
happening. Your guys are
Yeah.
like you're
Yeah.
attached to the hip and just seeing patients together.
Yeah.
Do you find though? Because I found like we had to define what our roles were early on for success.
100%. I don't know if we ever had like a real conversation, but we kind of just like fell into like a rhythm. But it has changed over time, and we've had to have conversations, especially like once we had, obviously we had the girls when we were when we before we graduated, and then we added another kiddo to the mix. And that conversation of like kind of like who's doing what at home versus like kind of what we each do at the office. So yeah, you have to understand what each other are doing, or else you we have frequently had this conversation of like, you don't know how much I'm doing, I don't know how much you're doing, and then I can't help you because we're not really 100% sure what each other are doing, and we're trying so hard to help each other that sometimes that actually gets in the way as well too.
So it's like good to have a known idea of what each person does and then like do
Yes.
it. And then whatever.
100%.
And you guys also like hire help if you guys also need help, because both of you are like working
Yes.
full time.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really important. Now, I think since for you guys are like top of the game with chiropractors for anyone listening. We're not necessarily a chiropractic podcast, but I think we do have a lot of chiropractors that listen. So if anyone ever wants to like shadow or reach out to you, I think you guys are a really good example of what it is like to operate at a high level. But something that my friend brought to my attention a couple of weeks ago that I find interesting, and I also like observe it with what you guys are doing, is chiropractors that might be in other fields too. I just know it in chiropractors find this like wild success. And then within that, they go, okay, now this is what I really want to do. And they start pursuing these other small passions that maybe you've always had, but you didn't have permission to do it earlier, or you needed to find success in a different way. And I find myself going through that too. And a lot of women and men go through that experience. Can you take me through like what it was like to be at this like top level of performance and then say, okay, now I'm going to start tapping more into my creativity?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. And we have had this conversation where we're both kind of like, what's next? And I think for a long time, I had been wondering, I know I have more. I know I want to do more. And because you're in a healthcare field, you're always thinking, well, okay, I built this business with my husband. I built it having children really early. I built it a little bit later than most people do. Maybe I should deep dive that and have so much on that. And the more I kind of started setting myself up for building kind of, I don't even know what it would have been, but building another kind of offshoot of maybe not coaching, but whatever it is about and around practicing with my husband and kids and all that good stuff, and kind of like rebuilding boundaries around how much we're discussing work. I was like, I don't really like want to talk about work more actually. And it was through discovery with several mentors of mine that I've always been creative. I've always done a lot of arts and crafts and projects, and I love doing that with my children. My mom always did arts and crafts with me. Like it's just kind of always been a part of who I am, as being artsy and creative in whatever medium that looks like. And actually, when our we had a really hard 2023. There was a lot of stuff that happened in our business, but actually personally too, we had house fire. And we were displaced from our house for 7 months with 3 children, a dog, and 2 cats. It was crazy. And actually, this is very wild and maybe tangential to the story, but very interesting. So I knew I was going to stop adjusting full time, and because I was having a planned surgery in October of 2023. So in September of 2023, we decided we should pull me out of practice because the office had to get ready. We had to prepare for me to be out. And I knew I wouldn't be able to adjust for like 12 weeks after my surgery. I had abdominal surgery. And so on September 7th of 2023 it was a Thursday. It was my last day adjusting. And how our family rhythm used to work is on Thursdays, Jason was home earlier, my husband, he was home earlier. He would make me or buy me whatever dinner. It didn't matter. It was just as long as there was dinner, I didn't care. So whatever he chose for us to eat, that's what we were eating. So I came home. It was pretty late. I used to work till like 7, I think 6 or 7 o'clock on Thursdays. Maybe it was 8. I'm not sure. And I come home and I'm kind of having this like big emotion, like I'm not adjusting anymore. What does this look like? I'm going to be managing. How will I manage my time? Going through a really big kind of personal unwinding of, I tied my self-worth very heavily with how many patients I would see, how much revenue I could bring in. And it was important because our whole family obviously relied on this income that we were creating together. So with that, I was like having this emotional kind of like meltdown a little. I'm just like talking through it. And it was very rainy and it was thundering and lightning like crazy. It's like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. And my husband and I are eating Chipotle. Not that that matters, but we're eating Chipotle at the table. Our kids are in our living room. They're kind of like winding down. And this big bang goes off and all of our lights go off. And we're like, oh, that was weird. I wonder what that was. As 30 seconds later, everything turns on again. So we're eating a little bit more and we're both like, that was really weird. And something smelled weird. So we started looking around our house, and eventually we went downstairs and opened up our breaker boxes, electrical panel, and it was just pouring smoke out from the panel. So obviously we're like, I don't know what's happening, but we got to get out of here. I pulled the kids out. We called 911. It was like, it looked like the middle of the day. That's how many ladder trucks there were, like the electrical company, ambulance stuff, the police, everybody was here. And so I'm sitting in the car and I'm like, oh my God, what is happening right now? And the kids are really little and it's pouring rain and cold and they can't just be out there. And it's, it's actually like the second week of school or something. It was something crazy like that. And the firemen are looking around and finally they do find, we don't know anything. They're just moving like bees. They're communicating and moving so organized, but they start pulling out the hose. And I'm like, well, I guess there is a fire somewhere. And there was no smoke. There was no smoke and there was no flames. You could not see any flames. Our fire alarm never went off. But what would happen was the lightning struck our gas line, blew a hole in the gas line, and started an electrical fire. And actually, it was in the ceiling of our basement, and that is where our children were sitting. Our children were sitting on the fire, actually, because they were like playing right above it, because they were, on in the living room, which is right above that room. And that moment really changed a lot for us, obviously, for a lot of logistical reasons. But it kind of was like, what? So in a moment, our whole family life was changed. I knew our practice was changing. We were in a hotel for 3 weeks. And then we were in a rental home. But in that time, we were considering like what I would do with my time, and then like add on this other thing. And I was like, I know I want to be creative. So I actually had enrolled in a like ceramics class. So it was the first time I had really scheduled myself time to be creative. And it felt so bad, actually, because I was like, I have so many other things to do. I have this laundry list, and, just emotionally was like very much falling apart. There's a lot of hard things happening in the office at that time as well. But at the time we realized like I was doing creative things in the office, but I hadn't scheduled them. And then it became annoying not to Jason, but like it was kind of like when I could fit them in, or I was kind of like, this makes me feel fulfilled, but it's taking away from my like work. And once we kind of worked out with another mentor of ours that was important, I would give myself like, if I want to make a balloon arch, I have 2 hours to do it. And so I'd kind of give myself like a chunk of time. Okay, you can do whatever you want creatively, but you have to do it in 2 hours. Like I made it a mural in our office. And Jason, well, actually, it was Jason's idea. He was like, why don't you make a mural? We had white paint and was getting like wrecked by chairs, So he's like, just paint a mural. That would be better. He's like, but you have to do it in 2 weeks. Like make it end. So I gave myself 2 weeks and I painted, a mural, which was really fun. And that's how it started. And then as we've kind of kept going, it's been like, well, I enjoy our art so much. Our office enjoys our art. And then I was like, thinking to myself, what would I do? And I was like, oh, I don't want to talk about work more. I want to share art. I want to share creativity, give myself a reason to do that.
There was so much there. First, I didn't even realize you had that house fire. That's
Yeah,
absolutely insane. I also find it fascinating how life will throw everything at one time. It's like, it's not
100%.
enough that it's like the office is having a hard time, or like you're going through a giant transition where you're like, you have to unravel your identity. And then you get like unhoused for a few months. Like that's
Yeah,
all at once is insane. I noticed that in life too. Like I was at the universe, so I used to like pack it in there at once.
100%.
But sometimes it's like those are the things you need to like stop and forces you to stop and reevaluate things. And I want to talk about how much identity is tied to achievements that are like measurable. Like in our field, I find a lot of people will be like, it's so tied to being a chiropractor that there's like a lack of permission to have an interest in anything that's not pertaining to
Yeah.
that. And you felt that discomfort. What did you do to help like work through that?
Yeah, 100%. I think part of how I worked through it was that our office was still able to create revenue without me. And then it was also like, well, actually, I am more valuable if I am creating and supporting our other providers in the office and creating more for our office and envisioning like what we want to do and what we want to do and how do we plan that. So when I kind of realized like my biggest role in our office is more visionary and more like, well, what do I want to do? And then supporting people to help me do those goals, obviously, because you can't do anything by yourself. But then I was like, oh wait, I'm actually better. I think I'm a pretty good clinician, I have to say, but I am actually better. And I did start to realize when I would like jump in or cut, because I was kind of like, excuse my language, I was like kind of half-assed management, half-assed clinical. So I would like try to get like taxes done in the middle of seeing patients. And I was like, this is draining. And I was like not finding the joy as much in treating, mainly because I was like having to do these tasks that could not get done. And it wasn't the patients. I like always loved the patients. It was never them. But I was like, my time is more valuable if I can work on the things to work on the business instead of in the business. But you're right. We're so conditioned to be like, I need to see X amount of patients. I need to bring in X amount of money. Like, and the reality is owning a business, somebody has to create revenue. Like
Mhm.
something has to create revenue. But when we realized it didn't have to be me, or we could create more revenue if I was checking on other things or doing other things, that's when I was like, okay. And obviously, like having a fire and then having a surgery kind of like took me out from the
Yeah.
actual treating physically. So there was really no choice. And that did help me. And now it's been, well, since 2023. So it's been a few years now, and I still treat a couple times a week. And I have a much better balance where I'm like, okay, on Wednesdays, I'm only chiropractic. So I don't try to do any, I mean, of course, if I have like an hour, I'll try to do something, but I don't put in any admin stuff on Wednesdays. It's just adjusting. I'm just adjusting all day, and that's all I do. And then I will do whatever else. So I don't try to like bebop between each role at the same time now.
Do you do like block scheduling for your time?
Uh, I tried. I need to get better at it. So
Yeah.
yes, I'm in the process of creating myself block scheduling.
It's hard. I feel like I
It's
love it in theory. And then when I put into action, I'm like, okay, this is harder because I like to bounce around to things.
I do
It
too.
feels
Yeah.
more comfortable. And I was
I have
like,
like 8,000 tabs open on my computer, and I can bounce between all of them pretty easily. But also, I think, I don't know if it's like the millennial generation or whatever. It's like if you don't get 100 things done, you feel like you've got nothing done. So a freaking will be like, oh, I didn't get anything done. And Jason will be like, you got XYZ done that needed to get, you got a lot of stuff done. But I think maybe if we have to feel busy to feel
yeah,
like we accomplished something. And maybe that's something we need to re-regulate on ourselves.
like the checklist, like needing to have, like
Yes.
seeing things crossed off makes you
Yeah.
feel better. Cause I'm like that too. And I've had to like, I've moved into more of a creative space as well. And I've had to be like, it's okay to sit here and just like think about things, which is a
Yeah.
really weird thing to say. But like when you are a business owner, like people don't realize you have to be, there's so much to do. Like most, I
Yes.
was amazed at how many people will be like, oh, you didn't see patients today. Like, what'd you do on your day off? And I'm like, there's not days off. That doesn't, that
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah. I did
exist.
100 things. Yeah.
Yeah. Like what it takes to run a business is like hours and hours of things that are not patient care.
So boring sometimes.
I think that's also because I also have a ton of tabs open and I feel like it makes it like fly by because I'm like, I'm doing this admin work and I'm going to jump over here and plan this and I'm going to jump over here and do this node. And then it's like, it feels like you said, it gives you that like sense. I think it's probably because it's spiking our cortisol where we're just like, yes, look how productive we are, even
Yes.
though we could have just like time blocked it and did it calmly. But
Yeah.
that
100%.
I think there is like this addiction to stress when you become a business owner and it's like
Yes.
tied to like when you are forced yourself to like slow down and sit with something like creativity
Yeah.
or doing a creative action or crafting. It actually initially you mentioned this too. It feels uncomfortable to say one, I'm going to do things for myself, and two, I'm going to slow down enough to like do it.
Yeah. I think too, because I usually go into work to do any type of work and then I get really pulled in a lot of directions. But I've had to untie myself with like what I perceive my team is perceiving if I'm not there. Like I'm thinking that they're thinking I'm just like sitting on a beach if I don't come in. But I don't think anyone is thinking that. I think they think I'm probably just doing like something with my children or whatever because the office is still running. And I've had to be like, no, I'm still working when I'm at home. And they're like, yeah. we know. But I feel like they probably think that I'm not, but they don't. So it's
Like you
like,
have to be accountable to them. Like, let me show you what I did.
yeah, so I have to be sitting at the desk for you to know that I'm working when like I can, and I would probably get more done if I just stayed home or I went to like a little coffee shop instead of going in and not my team is really self-sufficient, so they don't really grab me for stuff, but things always pop up, or I put myself in, I kind of put
Yeah.
myself in
Yeah.
things that
Yeah.
don't need to be in.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. I also think boundaries are really important too for both like yourself. Like, okay, this is something, even though I can solve it, so can someone else, which I think there's something hard in that too. Cause there is when it's like you're the center, it sort of feels uncomfortable to step away and be like, I don't have to be the center anymore.
Yeah, I don't have to decide it. You can figure it out.
So with this, I noticed you started making stickers. Tell me more about the creative work that you're
Yes.
doing.
Yeah. Okay. So our office is well, it's very well, we have fun. I don't know how to preface, but we have fun there. And very funnily enough, we became very intertwined with Bob Ross, which is so random for a chiropractic office. And a funny story, but when we were in our older space, we moved into the space we're in now almost 4 years ago. 4 years ago in a couple days, but we had myself and my husband made like 12 videos, and we talked about like chiropractic things, pelvic floor things, like these little videos. And in our old waiting space, that the waiting area was like more separated from the front desk. So you couldn't really hear as much. Someone would walk in, check in, and then go sit down, and we would grab them. But when we moved into the new space, it's all connected so you can hear the TV. And at a point, like our staff and the patients were like, we've heard this video like 1,200 times. Can we not hear this video? And it was weird because I could hear myself talking all day too. So one of my staff members just changed the TV to the Bob Ross radio whatever TV station. And I actually did not know that Bob Ross had his own TV station. I've always been a big Bob Ross fan. And so we actually turned on Bob Ross 4 years ago, and we have never we've turned him off for the Olympics. But other than that, we play Bob Ross in our office from the moment we open to the minute we close. And actually, everyone loves it. And in chiropractic, especially when we were going to school, everyone was like, if your walls don't have chiropractic, it's like worthless. Like you need to have as much education as you need to on your walls. But we took a different approach. So we play Bob Ross in our office. And then most of our decor is like stuff that we like, or like pictures of our family, our team members' families, like soccer stuff, like whatever it is that it feels very homey. But just to say is that we got really into Bob Ross. And so then now people buy us Bob Ross things.
Oh, I
And
love
Bob
that.
Ross became part of our culture. So a while ago, I got a Procreate on my iPad, which is just it's like a free or cheap program that you can doodle on your iPad. And I've never done digital art at all. I've only ever worked in, like physical media. So I wanted to make something for a friend, and I kind of like sloppily learned how to use Procreate. And then I kind of like manipulated it a little bit more. And I was making these kind of like fun designs for our office name is Core Health, and our logo is an apple. So I would like manipulate the apple, and I would make like an apple juice like box, and I would make like one sticker is like Bob Ross painting our logo. But we
Oh,
got
that's
into it in the
so
office, and I would just give them
cute.
out for free, and just kind of like manipulating some things. I made one that was like a pizza one time, just like silly stuff that I enjoyed. And we see a lot of kids, and so kids like them. And I grew up in the 90s, so I had sticker books, and I love stickers, and we got into it. And I paint our windows the windows when you walk in. We have these big windows. I paint those seasonally ish, depending on the weather. And I just started integrating that more. And when I actually joined Dr. Lauren's program, talking about like creating a personal brand, and that's when I was thinking, should I do more about like owning a business with my husband, blah, 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 blah. She was like, don't you make stickers? And I was like, I do. And she's like, why don't you do that? Because I have made just in general chiropractic-y healthcare stickers. So that's how we launched Neon Nerves Sticker Company. And so I've created several designs. They're funny. They're kind of loud right now. I'll definitely make some that are a little more like chill, but they are intended for chiropractors and chiropractic offices to have something fun to give to your patients or buy a chiropractic friend of yours. I have some mugs, I have like some hats, t-shirts, all that good stuff, but just something fun and little. And I just found that I didn't love any of the chiropractic stickers that you could buy from some of our bigger vendors. And so that's kind of how it started. And I'm actually shipping out, I think, 500 stickers today, which is really a couple, several different orders, but I'm very excited. And it's been really fun to kind of get creative. It's a little bit of pressure because you want to create new and cool designs for other people, and you're not sure what other people are going to like, but I've just been having fun with it, and hopefully more offices will share and reach out and have either custom. I've done some custom work for some people, and it's just been really fun. It's been fun to share.
I think that's really wonderful. I always say, like, actually, as a human, like, our soul's meant to create things. Like, they were actually, like, a reason people are so drawn to creativity, or they might be like, well, I don't identify as that, but like, they still want to do stuff. There's just like this weird thing. People think I have to do it well.
Yeah.
Do you notice an impact on like your mental health and just your spiritual health as you do this,
Yeah.
enter this creative world?
Yeah, and actually that's a good thing. I whenever I like would show someone art, because I've been creating like forever, but I would be like, oh, this is okay. I'm almost done it, but I want to change, blah, blah, blah. And I never got negative feedback from anyone. Like no one's like, yeah, I don't like the way you did that hand. Like no one's ever said that to me, except for my kids. My kids will roast me. They're like, that's so weird. But sometimes
Kids'
my art,
opinions don't count.
they will say the weird, and sometimes I do make some weird art, and that's just kind of like my style. So I don't care that they don't like it. I like it. But I was like really kind of guarded with how I presented because it wasn't perfect, or maybe it wasn't like this nice, clean aesthetic that some people's art, which is beautiful. And I love that type of art. It's just not what my brain can create or my hands can create. So it was kind of like coming to terms with like being out loud about my art, and kind of bracing for the it's not great, but no one said that to me. So, these stories that you kind of make up in your mind when you're comparing yourself to other people. But it's been great. It's been really fun. I'm trying to figure out like the logistics of selling stickers, which is a little more in depth than I had thought. But it's been really fun to be like, get the feedback. And I just was speaking with someone. She's opening her office, actually opened yesterday, and she's going to have our stickers. And I'm like, what a cool little experience to be just part of her big journey and opening for her. I never met her personally, I don't know her. And I was like, that is so cool. So that's been really fun. And I just give myself permission to make silly, weird stuff, and if it sticks and people want it, cool. And if not, like, no harm, no foul. I'll probably just use it for myself. So it's been really fun. And it's been like confirming that people are like, oh, that's cool, I want that too. I'm like, oh, cool.
I think we get like different, if you look at different like eras, there's different like things that are popular.
Yeah.
And I think when you're in like right now, there is this whole like clean girl aesthetics that's all around. But
Yeah.
people, it doesn't fit everybody because I mean, we're such a diverse population. So if you just do the stuff that resonates with you, I mean, people are going to also come out and be like, that also resonates with me. This is what I really want.
Yeah.
Is this like more quirky or loud or just something that's different? Because
Yeah.
it is interesting how much things like fall. Because I look at like chiropractic posters, like all the ones for the 80s, and there's like nobody did any creative work until
No.
like recently. And somebody was like,
Yeah.
oh, now I have to make something. But now they all look the same again in
Yeah.
this era. So it's really interesting. Maybe you'll do like chiropractic posters and like enter
Yeah.
into something like fun and loud. And because there are offices like that, but when they do branding, like they're not just like, we're gonna play elevator music. They're gonna be like fun and
Yeah.
loud, and that's they need their stickers too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, with the use of AI, and AI is so prevalent in, every facet of every industry now, is that we want more human. I think people will gravitate towards more human. So it's like, if an art is never perfect, right? Like anything you're making is never perfect. So I think there's that kind of draw to that kind of like quirky, and a lot of my stuff is geared for chiropractors or practitioners to give children,
Yeah.
and children do not tend to want clean girl aesthetic type
No.
stuff. So I think I think you're right. There's something for everyone. and it's just whatever works. So yeah, I would love to branch into that. I'm actually like pitching for a couple chiropractic universities to up their sweatshirts because I thought that their merch was like kind of lacking, and I was like, we could make something really fun and different. Like I've made our stuff look like we worked at a tattoo studio. I mean, like random. It's whatever I kind of feel like would be fun at the time. So I
Yeah.
think it's fun to play on branding. I mean, we've had our brand for 10 years almost. People know our logo, people know our colors, but I don't think that means you have to always only have something with your logo and your color. You can play with it and have fun with it. And a really fun way to play with it is with a sticker because it's not permanent. You can
Yeah.
change it, or a t-shirt. You can just make a fun t-shirt for a moment in time. It doesn't have to be this whole big thing. But I think when you play around with your branding, it just gives like a breath of fresh air in a fun, non-committal and non super expensive way also.
That's so fun. I think you're a good testament that you can be in the clinical aspect, but you can still tap into your creativity and have that show, and you don't have to fit this specific mold. And like, this is how you have to be a clinician. Cause like you said, like your patients probably love that you created these stickers. Like, it's not just a sticker that's for chiropractic. It's like my chiropractor created
Yeah.
this. That's
Yeah.
probably so much fun.
Yeah. They like it. Yeah. We have fun with it.
Well, we are coming up on our time, and I love this story that you've shared. I will link everything so people can get your stickers. I know we're ordering them for our office as well. Frank
Yes.
has
I'm
them
so
pulled up.
excited.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's his job to order. He might have already done it, but I'm not sure.
He did. Yeah. I'm sending
He
yours
did.
out today.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Yeah, he
Yeah. Love
did.
it.
So
Yes.
we'll have you pick them up in our office. And is there anything though you want to leave the listeners with?
Thank you. So obviously, thank you so much for having me. This is so fun. I love our conversations. And I think, I think you just have to plan time to do something for yourself. And self-care doesn't always have to be going for a walk or taking a bath, but can be something active. But as long as it brings you passion and joy, I think it's really important.
Yeah, that's a great message. It doesn't have to be what you see on the internet of just relaxing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming, Kurt, at the table. We've loved having you, and we will link everything up to continue the conversation.